I will request Dr. R.S. Grewal to share his views and experiences. Welcome, sir. We are not giving any formal introduction. His introduction is already there in our website also and in the brochure. He will straightway start with his experience. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. At the outset, I would like to thank Engineer I.J. Ghai for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. Dr. B.S. Singla, in his book, Expressways in 500 Days, has given an insight into how a project can be implemented in time-bound manner, and also various difficulties that are encountered, how those could be overcome. Similar examples could also be seen in construction of Delhi Metro and some other projects, national level projects. But such projects are islands of excellence in the overall environment that is existing in the country. We need to change the work culture as far as our project implementation is concerned if we actually want to progress. So therefore, I would like to highlight certain aspects which have been covered by Dr. B.S. Singla. My main thrust will be towards the decision makers. The decision makers who are bureaucrats, the decision makers who are there to implement the projects, both the categories. Because decisions are taken not only at the bureaucratic level, but decisions are taken at the time of implementation of the projects also. However, there is a caveat. I am assuming that there is no corruption. The suggestions that are being given can be implemented only in case we work with honesty and there is integrity at all levels. Now, the first point which I feel is that the decision makers should be committed. They should be emotionally attached to the project or the task at hand which is given. They should have that sense of ownership with the project, and also they should be keen, they should be enthusiastic to the task of contribution to the society and to the nation. That energy which they show in execution or their decision making and the way they work should be infectious. It should motivate people down below. And they should be sensitive to the delays that are caused and the impediments that are created in the smooth working of the people on ground. I'll give you a simple example. In the year 1990, the government of India realized that China has brought their transport infrastructure very close to the international border with India. So there was a requirement to construct roads also on our side of the border. What the government did was they constituted a committee which was known as China Study Group to suggest the roads which should be taken up for construction. The committee or the China Study Group took 8 years to decide on 10 roads which need to be constructed. Thereafter, the orders were given to construct those roads within 2 years. Rightly speaking, it should happen the other way around. 1 to 2 years to take the decision. After all, it was a national level decision, a strategic decision which had to be taken. The roads had to be identified, and India is a vast country. So therefore, yes, 1 to 2 years you could take to take that decision. There are a number of factors involved, number of states involved who have their claims, who have their varied interests. Yes, you could take time. But it cannot be this way that you take time to arrive at a decision of up to about 8 years, and then you tell those people who have to implement the projects to take only 2 years to complete those projects. So therefore, the people who are there at the helm of affairs should have that commitment. It should not be just another task, another file that has been given to you, and that they try to pass that file in it. The next should be the person who is taking the decision should have an understanding of how the work will be done. Now, when I was talking about these 10 roads which had to be constructed, they had to be constructed in a mountainous terrain, in plain areas, and these were roads to be constructed ab initio. It is not that the roads are already existing, like the road from Parvanu to Shimla. The road is already existing, and if you have to make it a 4-lane highway, you could attack it at different points and start the work simultaneously. This was a work which had to be taken ab initio, and therefore you had to start from one point and sequentially progress the work. But what happened? They said, no, we don't care. Just construct the roads in 2 years' time. And we being in the army, we had to take up that challenge. We couldn't say, no, it cannot be done. That is our work culture. So what we did, we innovated on ground. We constructed helipads along the length of the road at different intervals. That means if a road was about 50 kilometers long, we constructed about 8 to 10 helipads. At each helipad, we deployed manpower, we deployed dozers, we set up workshops to repair the equipment, to assemble the equipment. And then, with the help of helicopters, we first dismantled the dozers. With the help of helicopters, we took the equipment, heavy equipment, to those helipads and started working in both the directions. From one helipad, we attacked the road in 2 directions, one coming towards the start point and one going towards the end point. It was a mammoth task and very, very difficult task. Just imagine the plight of the people who had to walk along the tracks to reach the helipad and then start working over there. No other infrastructure available. They are totally cut off from the civilization, from their families. And the human cost involved in giving such orders is seen to be believed. I used to sign 5 death telegrams every month. It was a very, very painful task when we used to do that. Then the next point which I would like to highlight is that the decision makers should be pragmatic about abiding by the statutory requirements. There are requirements that in case you are constructing a road, you should publish a notification in the press, in the newspapers, so that in case anybody has got an objection, can come up and give their point of view, and you can take action either to solve his problem or tell him that, look, it cannot be done. We were constructing a road which was 57 kilometers long. It was in a remote area. The area was such that even if when you went there, you had to cover your face and your exposed skin with an ointment. Otherwise, there were insects which were known as dim flies. They would come and bite, and the whole body used to swell up. The people living on that road were primitive. The women were not even wearing the tops. And when we came and made a presentation at Delhi that this road is to be constructed, this is what it involves, we were told that your plan is everything is okay. But with your project proposal, you have not attached a newspaper clipping which says that the people living along that road have been informed about it. Total population along that 57-kilometer of road was 1,500. They hadn't even seen a newspaper. They didn't even know how to read a newspaper. Totally primitive people, but the bureaucrat wanted a newspaper clipping with the project report. Otherwise, he said, I will not sanction it. All I had to do was, this was in Arunachal Pradesh, all I had to do was go back to my headquarters, send my officer to Calcutta, get a report, advertisement published in the local newspapers there, take that newspaper clipping, attach it with the project proposal, and then it was clear. Now, how can a person who has to take a decision be such a lakir ka fakir? That yes, he should know that where the road is being constructed, what is the environment which is existing there. But no, he wanted his newspaper clipping, he got it. In the bargain, the project got delayed by about 2 months. The sanction to start the project got delayed by 2 months. Then there is another aspect, the financial regulations. These financial regulations are made with certain past experience in mind. But each project has got its own peculiar requirement. Now, the case which I was telling you about constructing the roads in hilly terrain, where we constructed helipads along the length of the road, and we heli-lifted the dozers there to start work simultaneously from different locations along the length of the road. Now, the helicopters were from our base, where we had set up base to start work. From that base, the helicopter unit was located about 1 hour's flying time. And thereafter, the helicopter, once it came to our base, when it took off, it could make only one trip to the helipad, where it had to go and drop the dozer or part of the dozer, come back to the base, and then it required refueling. Now, such temporary bases in the field require a particular type of pump to refuel the helicopter, which is known as Sudan pump. The cost is only 2 lakhs. I could sanction purchases worth crores of rupees, but since Sudan pump was not listed in the items which were there in the list, I could not buy that, and the financial authorities did not sanction it. The result was, every day the helicopter used to fly 1 hour, land there, pick up one part of the dozer, take it to the helipad, come back, and then go back to the site. And in hilly areas, the helicopters cannot fly after about 12 hours because there is turbulence in the air. Consequently, what happened? Because we could not buy a pump worth 2 lakhs, we spent crores of the government money to satisfy that financial regulation. This is not national interest. This is a clerical interest, and we have to rise above those things. What I would like to say is, in a government, there are 3 categories of people. One is a clerk. He goes strictly by the rules. Why? Because he does not have the intellect to think like an officer. There are officers who have the intellect, who understand the spirit of the rules, and then take the decisions. And they have the intellect to understand the spirit of the rules and take the decisions accordingly. But then there is a third category. which is an officer clerk. A person who has been given the status of an officer, but he has got the intellect of a clerk. So he uses his officer status to stall the projects. Now, and such officer clerks are available in abundance in the hierarchy all over in the bureaucracy, as well as amongst those who implement the projects. Then the people who are there at the helm of affairs, they should be conversant with the art of decision making. Majority of the time we learnt this art of decision making based on our experience. No formal training is given. But there is a need to learn this art of decision making, to master this art. I'll give you an example. My knowledge of engineering was not that good when I was as far as sinking of well foundation for construction of a pier of a bridge was concerned. And I landed up there. The Lacey's formula, which gives the equation for working out as to how deep a well should go, is basically for alluvial soils. But constructing bridges in the foothills of the Himalayas, where it is soil mixed with boulders, is a different ball game altogether. The decision has to be taken by the engineer on the site. And when I went to visit one of my bridge sites, the site engineer asked me, he said, "Sir, I have gone this much deep. I feel it is adequate, but I would like to have your guidance as to whether I should plug the well here itself or should I go a little more deep." I'll be frank with you, I did not have that knowledge at that stage to give that decision. But I did not delay the decision. I said, "Son, you will get your decision by tomorrow." I came back to my headquarters. I had some very competent officers. I created 3 teams of officers, one under each structural engineer. They were put in different rooms. They were given specifications. They were asked, "Okay, these are the specifications given. We have gone up to so much of depth. Please let us know whether should we go further deep or should we plug the well itself." Next day morning, I called the 3 teams. I asked them to give their recommendations with reasoning. After they gave their recommendations, each had their different reasonings, each gave a different solution. Then I told them that, "Look, we are all working as a team. This is going to be my decision. In case things go wrong, my neck will be there on the block. You should not get emotionally attached that I gave this recommendation and that was not accepted by the chief engineer, but his recommendation was accepted. I have heard you all. My feeling says that this solution is appropriate and we will follow that." And within 24 hours, we were able to take that decision. So sometimes your technical knowledge may not be that up to date, but then there are ways and means of taking a decision. In such cases, when you are giving orders, you should be honest to yourself. Cross your heart and ask yourself, am I doing justice to my job? And you should have that courage of conviction that, yes, I have taken all factors into consideration, I have taken all precautions, and this is my orders. Yes, things can go wrong sometimes, but then you should have that courage of conviction and have that courage to take take timely decisions and not to stall the project. Another aspect which people who are implementing the projects and people who are conceiving, planning the project should work out is the contingency planning. Because when you are executing a project, things will go wrong number of places. Or things may not go the way you want it to go. So that contingency planning is there. The important milestones should be identified and your plan should give multiple options at each important milestone. Most important aspect is that you should have your regular site visits. It should not be a customary site visit. It should not be a routine site visit. Whenever you go and visit a site, your objective should be clear. This is what I am going to achieve when I go out today. Second, how will the visit help the project implementation? And then, please remember, these visits are very important. Remember this dictum that whatever is not inspected is neglected. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to say is, these are some of the points which I thought within about 10 to 15 minutes, which I was told to speak about, I could give. We must understand that when, as engineers, we are working for the national cause, our infrastructure needs to be built up if we actually want the country to progress. And teamwork helps. And we all have to work with a positive attitude and with honesty as a bedrock. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Brigadier Grewal, for enlightening us regarding the work which is executed in difficult terrains. Most of us have the experience of executing work in plain area or normal areas. But today we have came to know that what type of problems people who are working in difficult terrain, especially along the international borders, what problems do they face, and these are more or less resembling the problems which are being faced by people. The problem, I mean to say, bureaucratic problems and other issues. Definitely your problems are much more difficult and cumbersome than our problems. I think you have explained it very nicely,